Hello, everybody. This is Bruce from Oregon. It's the Bruce from Oregon show. I'm Bruce the Moose. We've got mooses on the screen. It's a hot day, bright outside in Oregon here. I've been painting my shed, so I decided to take a break. And today we're going to do an episode 2 of something about David, the lawyer. David S. Gingras, Esquire, has been tweeting again. And he has a big new post with a lot of comments, and I want to get through them and take a look at them. They're brand new. Shout out to Shannon in the community for suggesting I make another video. So that's what we're doing here today. Let's get into it. Okay, so if we go over to Twitter, which they now call X, which I think is strange. It's a weird name. But anyway, that's where it is. We've got David S. Gingras, Esquire, 17 hours ago, tweeting about the Clayton Echard paternity case, Owens v. Echard. And he has set up a little narrative here in his post. He says, JFC says, Laura faked pregnancy. And the first thing he does here is he does this alternating all caps and lowercase in order to make a sentence sound crazy or unhinged. Which I guess is creative. But in any case, JFC, Laura faked pregnancy. Now, I'm going to disagree with this sentence. I can't say whether she faked pregnancy or not. My position is that she did not produce enough evidence in court to prove clinical pregnancy or to prove paternity to my satisfaction. Does that mean she faked pregnancy? Maybe. Does it mean she faked pregnancy? I don't know, probably. Do I know this? I don't know this. I just know she failed to provide sufficient evidence. And that's all I'm looking for is sufficient evidence of pregnancy and paternity. And we just don't have it. Okay. Next sentence. Because comedy man say so. I mean, no. Again, this is incorrect. Everybody's able to go read the court documents and read the court filings and read Laura's Medium blogs and decide for themselves if they are convinced or not. Nobody has to be convinced by, I assume he's talking about Dave Neal on YouTube. Nobody has to be convinced by Dave Neal. Dave Neal has done investigation and commentary, and you can agree with him or disagree with him. So I don't really understand this. And MAGA. I don't know what MAGA has to do with anything. I don't know why. This is one of these things where, like, when the internet first started having, news articles or websites for magazines or whatever it is, and they all had comments sections in the beginning, and you would see an article like, scientists have figured out a new way to, grow tomatoes more efficiently or something. And someone in the comments section will bring up politics or make it about the president. The president is terrible. This president's terrible. The last president's terrible. Without fail, somebody will try to tie in politics because it gets everybody fired up. I don't know what this has to do with anything. There's no, sort of causal relationship here between this court case and MAGA. But anyway, we'll get into the comments and see if he can explain himself. It's very strange. And then he says, me, left pick taken 1 year ago after 6 positive pregnancy tests. Okay. So I have 2 problems with this. My first problem is that a photograph is not evidence of pregnancy. Okay. I have moles on my skin. I can take photographs of them. They can be 100% legit photographs, or I could take a video. Laura Owens can take videos and photographs of herself all day long and her stomach bump. Okay? I can take photographs and videos all day long of the moles on my skin. Just because I have photos of moles on my skin does not mean that those moles are malignant or that I have skin cancer. Just like Laura's photos can be real of her bump and not be proof of pregnancy. You cannot just look at a photo of someone and say they are pregnant. They might be pregnant. A photo of a mole might indicate malignancy, but you have to actually go get a medical diagnosis in order to prove it. So he seems to think that a photo is sufficient proof of pregnancy. Well, a photo of a mole on someone's skin is not proof of cancer. So I don't understand his logic. His logic is broken. It just fails the test of common sense. And then after 6 positive pregnancy tests, well, urine and blood HCG tests are indicators of pregnancy. Somebody might be pregnant. Okay. They are not proof of pregnancy. They're not proof of clinical pregnancy. You need fetal heartbeat monitoring and series of ultrasounds over time to clinically prove pregnancy. And we don't have that in this case. So he is conflating an indicator with proof. For example, I could have headaches. Someone with headaches might have a brain tumor. But not everyone who has headaches will have a brain tumor. That is the same with HCG tests. You can test positive for a blood or urine HCG test and be pregnant, or you can test positive for a blood or HCG test and not be pregnant. Okay? It's not proof, it's an indicator. Just like a headache might mean you have a brain tumor, but it might mean you don't. You need to go get a medical diagnosis to make that connection and to prove your case. Okay. And then he says, right pick taken yesterday, 10/5/24. Okay. Yeah. Pictures do not prove pregnancy. HCG tests do not prove pregnancy. These are only indicators. You cannot conflate indicators with proof. That is anti-scientific, anti-logical. Okay, and then he says, JFC says, but Rachel loves us, question mark. And I think he's referring to the Maricopa County county attorney here. I don't know what that has to do with anything. If the county attorney is investigating crime, I don't know what that has to do with proving whether somebody was pregnant or not. This doesn't make any sense. Reddit said we win. What does he mean here? I don't understand this, Reddit. I mean, there's discussion on Reddit. There's links to videos and court documents on Reddit. It's a great resource. But they lost their court case, which was the determination of a judge. It wasn't Reddit. Reddit didn't decide the court case. So this sentence makes no sense. It just doesn't have any logical basis. We want justice. I mean, okay. Screw facts. Well, what are the facts? The facts are we have no OBGYN care for someone who claims to have a high-risk twin pregnancy with epilepsy. Why is there no constant OBGYN care? We have no series of ultrasounds from a provider to the respondent's lawyer in this case. That's a fact. We have no fetal heartbeat monitoring. We have no babies. We have no medical provider that provided a service and provided medical documentation of any kind of early or late-term miscarriage. So the facts are we have a dearth of evidence. And to me, that itself is evidence that I cannot conclude that somebody was pregnant or that a particular person was the father. There's no DNA results indicating, Eckerd was the father of any babies that passed in miscarriage. There's no medical records. So, you can say that there are facts like photographs and HCG tests, sure. But again, those are indicators, not proof. And what we really want is we're not saying screw facts. We're saying there is a dearth of evidence. There is a void of evidence that you would need to prove in court that you are pregnant. Okay. And then he says, justice is coming soon. Okay. I mean, this guy's made a lot of predictions about how great his court filings would go. And for many of those, they were just denied by the judge. So I don't have a lot of confidence in his predictions about how the court filings will go. I mean, things could go his way on an appeal. I don't know. Who knows? But I remain unconvinced. Okay. And then he replies to himself, and yes, Laura is too thin. Okay. She knows this. All right. We talk about it regularly. I mean, if you, excuse me, if you are concerned about her health, maybe you shouldn't be posting photos of her in a too thin condition on the internet. Seems inappropriate. The stress imposed on her by wicked, evil humans. Wicked, evil humans? I mean, who are you talking about? What wicked, evil thing did they do? Can you give me an example? Can you be precise? Do you know what attention to detail is? David, wicked, evil humans? This is just rhetoric. Everybody's out here doing the best they can with the information they have. Even you. That's what I'm doing. That's what you're doing, presumably. Let's see. Okay, the stress has taken its toll. Okay, I mean, maybe. Hopefully, when this war is over. Well, that's a bit dramatic. There's no war. I mean, war is nation states in conflict. We're not nation states in conflict. I'm sitting here at my desk in front of my computer reading publicly available court documents. That's not a war. That's a hobby. Like, what is this war? This blows my mind, guys. Let's see. Hopefully, when this is over, she can eat, sleep normally again. Okay. Well, get your client some help and, maybe encourage her to stop posting on the internet and encourage yourself to stop posting on the internet. Just go file your appeal. If you're her lawyer, protect your client, do what's in her best interest, keep her off the internet, get yourself off the internet, and if you want to appeal, go file your appeal. That is my advice to you, sir. Until then, she will never give up, and neither will I. Well, I mean, yeah, that's nice. Go file your appeal if you never want to give up. And I don't know what you're trying to do here on Twitter, because the things you're posting here are unconvincing to me. You haven't generated any new evidence. You haven't explained the lack of evidence. So all I can do is presume that this person was never pregnant, because that's how human beings begin their life, not pregnant. And then at some point, they may become pregnant, at which point you can either believe them if it's a mundane claim, or if they're in court, you have to prove it with good evidence. Good evidence of clinical pregnancy, good evidence of DNA paternity, none of which we have here. So that's kind of wild. Let's look into the comments, shall we? I don't know how long this video will be. It might be a long one. I thought it would be short because there's like one post. But the problem is every single sentence is just so strange. I have to try to wrap my head around it, and digest it and I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt here. Like, convince me. Here's Twitter. Just do something, anything. Okay. All right. Rogue Mama says, what does MAGA have to do with this? Bringing Trump in your motions and MAGA in your post diminishes your argument. Bad for your PR game, my friend. I mean, I sort of agree. Maybe he has a point or some kind of analogy he can create, but I don't understand it yet. Let's see. Beavis and Butthead. This is the Saturday Night Live Beavis and Butthead, I think. That's nice. I'd like to stick to the facts. Would you agree that, as you were not present during the filming of this video, you can't say with 100% certainty that it wasn't tampered with by Laura? And just because she was heavier there doesn't mean she was pregnant. Yeah, I mean, really, to me, the authenticity of these photos is really irrelevant. Like, I don't care, because let's just assume they are all perfectly authentic. A photograph still does not prove clinical pregnancy, as I explained before. So it doesn't matter whether they're altered or, Instagram filtered or something like that. It just doesn't matter. David says, please tell me that's the best argument you have. No, the best argument we have is that we haven't seen sufficient proof of clinical pregnancy and paternity. That's the best argument we have. And when there is no evidence, I cannot believe a claim. That's it. Yes, the Earth is flat and the moon landing was faked. Oh boy. Here's the thing. We know, like Instagram influencers have done videos explaining, like you can take a photo of yourself, then you can take another photo of yourself where you adjust the lighting, adjust where the camera is, adjust what you do with your muscles, adjust what you do with your breath, adjust how you're standing, the angle you're standing. And you can turn a regular photo into more of a supermodel photo without any manipulation. And then on top of that, once you add things like Instagram filters, apps, Photoshop, and other things, you can make your supermodel photo an even better supermodel photo and change people's perception of reality to, give them the view that the photo was way better than reality, that the model looks better than reality, and all of that. That's very straightforward and well understood. Okay. When people say, well, the Earth is flat and the moon landing was fake and none of these NASA photos are real, that's a completely different argument. You're basically saying all these national institutions like NASA or European space agencies are colluding on a global scale to fool 8 billion people. That's not the same as the very obvious reality that you can go take a photo in 2 different ways to make yourself look better, or use Photoshop or use Instagram filters to make a photo look better or different. These 2 things are not the same. So I don't know what he's trying to argue here because it doesn't make any sense. Because Photoshop, which didn't exist in 1969. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there were optical photo techniques in 1969, but I mean, this is so ridiculous. The other thing, as I explained in my episode 1 video, you don't even need photographs to prove the Earth is not flat. You can use the Eratosthenes well experiment. For example, in this case, you wouldn't even need sonograms or an OBGYN, I suppose, to prove that Laura was pregnant. She could have just had the babies, and then the babies would be proof. Or she could have had a miscarriage, and the material from the miscarriage could have been, tested by a pathologist to get, DNA confirmation that Clayton was the father. None of that happened. Okay. So not only, these photos are just indicators, they're not proof. There's nothing beyond that we have. We have, just like I said before, a dearth of evidence. That's the problem. It's not that there's a bunch of evidence and we're just ignoring it, which is what flat earthers and moon landing deniers do. They just deny the actual science and evidence you can teach people. In this case, there is no science and evidence that you can teach us because you haven't provided it. That's the fundamental difference. He's conflating these things in a very strange way. Okay. And yes, the videos, multiple of her non-moon bump, are fake. Well, I don't care if they're fake or not. Let's assume they're real. They still don't prove clinical pregnancy. Because you want them to be fake? No, it's because people know that Instagram influencers can use filters, camera tricks, adjustments, apps, Photoshop to manipulate photos. That's why people are skeptical of your photos and videos on the face of it, because they know you can do those things. We don't have evidence that government agencies across the globe have colluded to hide a flat earth conspiracy or a moon landing conspiracy. There's no evidence of that. But there's tons of evidence of people manipulating regular, everyday photos and videos using modern tools and technology. They're not the same at all. And then he mentions chemtrails. It's like he's just going to throw out a laundry list of conspiracy theories to try and make it sound like people who just want to demand evidence are conspiracy theorists. And this is illogical, and it doesn't make any sense. Okay. Let's see. Mrs. Brightside 15 says, can you explain in the October photo why Laura is standing straight up, but the door frame looks crooked? Genuinely curious. Who knows? I don't think you replied. And again, I don't care. I don't care if these photos and videos are fake or real. They don't prove anything. If you take someone to court, you need to prove clinical pregnancy and paternity. Or if you don't, if you fail to prove those things, then you need to pay the bill. That's my position. It's not even a question. It's just, that's where I'm at. I don't know what to tell you. Somebody else can have a different opinion. Let's see. What? What says a judge already decided based on all the evidence provided? Yeah, that's what I just said, I think. David says yes, and that judge has had her rulings tossed out multiple times in her very short judicial career. Well, I mean, any judge is going to have, appeals go through or not go through. I don't know if you just. And what is a very short judicial career? Very short. Again, note language here, guys. Very short is a qualitative statement. It is not a quantitative statement. I can ask two people what very short means, and one person might say a year, and one person might say 5 years for a career. We don't know what it means quantitatively. Keep in mind when he's doing this, look for places where he uses qualitative language instead of quantitative language, because it's ambiguous and deceptive, in my opinion. Okay. The judge had her rulings tossed out multiple times. I mean, here's the thing. A judge could have a ruling overturned by an appeals court 9 times in a row, and then the 10th case could fail in the appeals court. There's no rule that says if you've had rulings overturned by an appeals court that you are going to have more rulings overturned by an appeals court. There's no mathematics that guarantees that. Okay. So I don't know. I don't know what he's trying to say here. This will be no different. I mean, maybe. We'll have to see. Go file your appeal, sir. Lies are not truth. This is like 1 equals 1. Like, okay. 1 does not equal 2. This is what we call tautology. When somebody says something that's really obvious to make it sound like it's profound. Like, yeah, what lies? Can you enumerate them? Can you point to them? Where are they? And what is the proof by refutation? I don't know, guys. No matter what you want to believe. Well, the time to believe a claim is when you have sufficient evidence. And that's the whole problem with this case, is that nobody has sufficient evidence. Oh my gosh. Our good friend Flux says, dumbass. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to wrap my brain around all this. Just, on a hot Oregon day. I think it's got to be, it's 80 degrees here. Whew. But that's where we are. I'm just trying to wrap my brain around this. Maybe Flux has the right idea. Just, this guy's a dumbass and move on. I don't know, guys. JCM says, this is so embarrassing for both of you. And if you're posting side-by-side photos as evidence, you probably shouldn't be using a photo that is so clearly airbrushed in the face that makes you question what else has been altered. Her face looks AI generated at this point. And again, I don't really understand what evidence this is trying to prove, because a large belly photo and a flat belly photo, a year later, doesn't mean someone was pregnant. Someone could just have a large belly. There's all kinds of reasons a person could have a large belly. We don't know why. Even if it's a legit photo/video. I don't know, guys. I'm just skeptical. Turaturi says, let's talk about photos from a year ago. Laura showed Commissioner Duty a sonogram of her son, quote unquote, during an order of protection hearing. It's recorded. Yeah, go check out Schnitzel Ninja on YouTube if you want to see some of these court hearings. These are publicly available court hearing videos that we are free to watch now, thanks to Schnitzel Ninja. She also claimed the sonogram on the mean Halloween costume. Oh, I think that, well, it's a meme. Oh, I see, the mean Halloween costume meme. Say that 10 times fast. Was one she sent Clayton Eckert and content creators. Can you please explain that on your podcast? Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I think there have been claims that Laura never sent any sonogram photos to Clayton and in the paternity case. But in this order of protection hearing, she has a different story with that judge. So that's an interesting bit of homework for everybody to go compare and contrast and see what you think about it. Is it consistent? Is it inconsistent? You tell me. Mel MC says, for someone who seems to hate the big orange dump as much as I do, what? Are they talking about Donald Trump? Are we getting back into politics now, guys? Oh, dear. This is so divisive. You sure seem to use his school of thought on logic and insults. I'm still reeling from how you treated the tilted lawyer after his very kind and generous offer. He would be the fairest person y'all could talk to. Shrug emoji. It's fair. There's no reply to that. Marmite says, clearly your client has suffered from an eating disorder for many years to post pictures on the internet when she is clearly not well. How is that supposed to help her? The best advice anyone can give Laura is to tell her to keep off the internet, trolling and making medium, I guess they mean making medium posts. Yeah. And then there's a down arrow emoji and a, what is this? Needle and thread? What? I don't know, guys. I don't know what that means. Tell me what that means in the comments. Yeah, I think this is kind of true. I think this guy, in my opinion, now this is only my opinion, I think it's a little abusive to have a legal client and also try to do their PR, especially when we are talking about sensitive issues like epilepsy, autism, self-harm, eating disorders. You are not doing your client any good by letting them write a bunch of Medium blogs, by posting and arguing with people on Twitter on their behalf, by keeping the story at the forefront of the news cycle. It's not doing anyone any good. And to me, maybe not almost, it does rise to the level of abuse, I think. Now, that's just my opinion. But that's where we are, guys. Let's see. See you next Tuesday, Muffin Esquire says, so 6 months worth of positive pregnancy tests. Show me an OBGYN visit for her high-risk pregnancy. Yeah, exactly. And not just a visit. If you were anticipating a full 9-month pregnancy, you need a fundamental OBGYN whose care you are under. And if you see specialists, if you're referred to them, you can see them as well. But you need a primary care specialist who's an OBGYN. And then you see them on a regular basis and you get fetal heartbeat monitoring on a regular basis. You get ultrasounds on a regular basis. You'll have documentation of the process of your pregnancy in a patient portal, not just blood and urine HCG tests from places that anybody can walk into. Okay. Show me an unedited sonogram or fetal death certificate, as that would make Laura 24 weeks pregnant. Yeah. And, whatever it is, 24 weeks where you need a fetal death certificate, we haven't seen that. They're arguing miscarriage, which would mean it would be a much earlier term miscarriage. So I don't know why they're trotting out these large belly pics when their argument is an early stage miscarriage. Those two things don't go together. A large belly pic late in the pregnancy, 24 weeks, is not consistent with pregnancy at that point if there was an early term miscarriage. So this makes no sense to me. Bob Sacamano. I just got that. That's funny. Says, Sigh, this is exhausting. I thought we were sticking with the early miscarriage explanation. So Bob and I are on the same page here. That belly, if it was pregnant, would be like 28 weeks, an easily viable baby. Get the lies straightened out, dude. Okay. Fair. Casey here says, I mean, there is also the fact that she's done this to other men. Her story has changed so many times. She must pay you well so that you don't mind embarrassing yourself. Picky B says 9 weeks pregnant in that picture. Yeah, I don't know about 9 weeks. That was he was saying that was the October timeframe a year ago. So that would have been much more than 9 weeks, more like 20, 24 weeks. Or somebody said 26, 28 weeks. You can go do the math. Check out the Padlet timeline. Help you do the math. Laundered Trish says, anyone that followed this case knows how pictures can lie. Have you ever seen a person that has a gut reaction to gluten? No proof of clinical pregnancy was presented in court. And yeah, that's my point as well. And I've seen some of these YouTube shorts or YouTube videos where these ladies are like running around, in the summertime, stomachs flat as a board. And then they go eat a whole bunch of pasta and their stomachs bloat up like they're pregnant or something. It's pretty amazing. Who knows? IRK says, look at the difference in Laura's thighs alone. Laura's BMI in the photo on the left is at least twice what it is on the right. Okay. I mean, yeah, clearly the two photos have different weight characteristics for iso height. Yeah, which will alter the BMI. The math checks out. Alberta B says, show us her real sonogram then. She should have some if she was actually pregnant. Why did she find one online and claim it as hers? Yeah, I mean, we had the fiber ultrasound in the Greg Gillespie case, which was found to be a stolen ultrasound. And then we had the Reality Steve ultrasound in the Clayton Eckert case, which was found to be a stolen ultrasound as well. And then there were two other ultrasounds, and we don't know what provider those came from. We don't know for sure if they were faked or not, but we don't know where they came from. And when you don't know where something comes from, it's a little suspicious, guys. A little suspicious. You need better evidence in court than just something randomly showing up in email. You weren't prego says, what happened to the contents of that belly? That's a great question. I think it was poop into the toilet. Guys, this is where we are today. It's a Monday. Anybody else got a case of the Mondays? I don't. I've just been painting my shed, so I'm very tired. My painting arm is sore. Maybe. What's your version of the disposition of whatever made her belly look like that? I mean, that's a great question. That's kind of where I was going with if it was an early term miscarriage where you don't need fetal death certificates, what are you doing, parading around these photos with a large belly? How do you explain these court Zoom videos with a large belly? Doesn't make sense. It certainly doesn't prove pregnancy. If you're saying there was an early term miscarriage and that she has PCOS or gluten intolerance, and that explains the large belly later, then why are we showing those photos now? It certainly doesn't prove pregnancy. It doesn't prove that a miscarriage occurred either. Let's see. Doc M says, I guess these would be indisputable evidence of a real pregnancy. And they're posting some ads for, what is this? Film prop, spoof, costume, cosplay, fake bellies. Yeah. I guess these things exist, and you can get ones that are pretty good. I don't know that anybody in this case, ever used one of those, but the options are there. See, if you had clinical proof of pregnancy, nobody would be speculating about all the potential options. That's what happens, right? If I just say I have headaches, we can go on WebMD and find out 100 reasons why I might be getting headaches. A brain tumor is only one. We need a medical diagnosis to narrow it down to one answer. Otherwise, people will speculate endlessly on all the other things that those headaches could be related to, right? Jennifer Cathcart says the filter on the after pic is so strong. Her hair and face look animated. Stop presenting clearly fake doctored evidence in support of your client. Well, I mean, even if somebody used a Instagram filter to change the contrast of a photo, edge detection filters, blur the background, doesn't mean the photo is fake. I think the problem here is it goes back to, trust is hard to gain, but easy to lose. And when you present photos that may or may not, or may give the appearance of having been through an Instagram filter, even if it's just for sort of beauty purposes, it puts people in a position where they're less likely to develop trust with you. So I think that's what's happening here. Let's go back up and see if I think there were maybe some replies to some of these comments. There's 9 on this one. Oh my gosh, guys, we're going to be here all day. This could be another 90-minute video. Hopefully not. Let's see. So we're going back to, he's saying, yes, he knows she's too thin. Kate says, I'm sure she's very stressed. I don't think anyone disputes that, but it's self-imposed. Perjury prosecution would be stressful. Well, there's no charges against anybody at this point yet, but I believe the county attorney is investigating based on the outcome of the family court hearing. So we're going to wait and see on that. As would trying to keep track of the web of lies she created. Maybe. No one has come forward in support of Laura except you, whom she's paying. Interesting. And then David replies, plenty of people have come forward in Laura's support. Well, who are these people? Have they talked to anybody that we would know? Have they talked to, Omar the Tilted Lawyer, Megan Fox, Dave Neal, MG Law, Legal Vices, that umbrella guy, Boss Attorney Bree? They could talk to a lot of people and help explain Laura's story here, the background, why they support her, where they're coming from, what evidence have they seen that makes them support her. This would be amazing. I haven't seen anything like that. So this first sentence is just a claim. It's a claim with no evidence. Always keep your eyes out for claims with no evidence, guys. At least for things beyond mundane claims. Obviously, if someone tells you, I had a chicken sandwich for lunch yesterday, who cares? But if the chicken sandwich becomes pivotal in a murder case, maybe then we need some evidence, right? I've talked with many of them. Well, okay, good for you, sir. I mean, nobody else has. So how would we know they exist? This is very strange. Like, are we just supposed to take your word for it? You just don't see them because they're not in a cult. What does that mean? You just don't see them? Well, where are they? Like, give us a link. Publish an interview with them. Who are these people? What is going on, guys? They're not in a cult. There is no cult, by the way. A bunch of people on the internet, random people, arbitrary people, following a court case with public court documents is not a cult by any stretch of the imagination. A cult would be an organization that is consistent with the BITE model of authoritarian control. Okay, let's take a quick look. The BITE model: behavioral control, information control, thought control, and emotional control. I'm out here making a video right now. Nobody is controlling my behavior. I can do what I want. If I want to make a video, I'll make a video. If I don't, I won't. I can do whatever I want. I don't report to anybody. There's no org chart. There's no organization. Reddit can't tell me what to do. Discord can't tell me what to do. A wiki page can't tell me what to do. There's no behavioral control here. Information control. Everybody has access to public court documents. There's no information control. In a cult, what they'll do is they'll take people and they'll cordon them off in a living situation where they can't get information. People in the general public, arbitrary people, can get all of the public court documents. So they have all the information. So there's no information control here. So that one fails as well. Thought control. Okay. Psychological techniques to suppress critical thinking and promote conformity. Well, I've already said, a lot of the time my answer here is, I don't know. I might even disagree with some people. Some people are like, well, I think she was, never pregnant. My position is, I don't know because she hasn't provided sufficient evidence. So I think she should lose her court case, even though the answer is still, I don't know. Because you need to meet the bar of evidence. So I disagree with the people that say they know for a fact that she was never pregnant. Because my answer is, I don't know. In fact, what I'm doing here right now, explaining the bite model of authoritarian control, is I am promoting critical thinking. Okay? I am promoting people to use their individual capabilities to figure this out for themselves. Okay? I've done management best known practices videos where I explain the fundamentals of logic, the cornerstone of critical thinking. So there's no thought control here. So that test fails as well. And then there's emotional control, which is how manipulative organizations can control your emotions, fostering dependency and loyalty through love bombing, guilt, and fear-based indoctrination. The only fear-based arguments I've ever seen in this case have come from you, David S. Gingras, where you say, oh, I'm the Conor McGregor of lawyers. Oh, I'm going to make Dave Neal homeless. Oh, I've gotten lawyers disbarred, or I've worked on cases where lawyers were disbarred and now they're homeless. That's fear-based manipulation. And the only person that's been doing that is you. Stop threatening people. That's my advice to you. It doesn't look good. So his claim that there's a cult somewhere completely fails when you take a look at the actual evidence and look at the bite model and actually talk to human beings about it instead of making claims and shouting at them on Twitter without listening to them. Okay, I'm telling you, I made a video, one of my first videos in this channel after making some sandwich videos once. Okay, it was about how this is not a cult. And I go through the definition and I go through the bite model and I go through in way more detail there. Okay, I've explained it and I'm explaining it now again, over and over. And you don't listen. You don't listen and you don't learn. You need to learn that there is no cult here. There is no organization that is compliant with the bite model. And you need to acknowledge that as the reality that we both live in. Okay? Let's go back to the tweets. Normal people don't spend months obsessively trying to destroy a stranger's life just because some stupid TV show guy was involved. Well, I think, you can argue whether, and again, what does obsessively mean here? Again, it's another weasel word. It's ambiguous. I don't know what he means. If you're following the case and you read a court document, when a court document comes out, I mean, that's clearly following a case. Is it obsessive? I don't know. Different people have different hobbies. Some people play Pokemon Go. Are they obsessively playing? What's your criteria here? Some people read books, some people watch movies, some people watch TV shows, some people knit sweaters. I don't know. Different people have hobbies. Don't judge how people spend their spare time. If people like following true crime because they want to understand the psychology behind it, because they want to understand how the law works in the legal system, that's their choice. Who are you to judge them for what they do with their spare time? That's really rude. People don't judge you for how you spend your spare time. or they shouldn't if they do. It's just not good. It's not good behavior to do this. To just, you know, it's like when people say, get a life. What does that mean? Do you have an Excel spreadsheet with two worksheets? One that says all the activities humans can do that constitutes a life, and then another spreadsheet tab which has all the activities that constitute not a life, so that we can conform to your definition of what a life is? It's so rude. Nobody actually does that. Nobody takes the time to make that spreadsheet and become unambiguous about what they're trying to say. This is an ambiguous insult. It offers no real information to your audience. Useless. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Let's, oh my gosh, guys, there's so many, there's even replies to this. Mel MC says Clayton was one of the worst bachelors ever. Well, that's an opinion. Definitely one of the most hated. It's another opinion. However, many of us have come to his side due to evidence. It's fair. All the evidence points to her lying. How was she pregnant 4 times in 10 years, 3 of those times with twins, while having PCOS? A marvel of science. Eye roll emoji. This is a good point. I don't see a reply. It's a good point. Chemo says Skeletor's head is the same size as her torso. Well, first, guys, let's not be rude to Laura here and call her names. Let's not sink to that level. Stop feeding her delusions, you psycho. Jeez, chemo is coming in hot. Ugh, I don't know. This is disgusting and you should be disbarred. Well, I don't know about that. CM Law says, remarkably, reading Reddit is voluntary, as is watching YouTube videos. Writing Medium articles is also voluntary. Your client's torment is self-imposed. This is a good point. Nobody has to go on social media and read about what people are saying about a public court case. You don't have to. You don't have to read it. Just block it. Hire a social media manager. I don't know. Bogey fan says, why wait until the war is over? Quotes on the war. She should be seeing a doctor that can help with this now. Yeah, I agree. If you are Laura's counsel, legal counsel, and you think she has health issues or eating issues, get her some help. I don't know whether that's medical help or mental health care help. I don't know. Do something. Mess says, by God is my witness, as long as Ron Owens has money in his bank account, David Gingras will never stop. Crying emoji. Well, I mean, yeah, if you want to, you can keep a retainer on doing things as long as you can keep paying them. That's fair. Lawyers will make money doing their work, whether that's PR work or legal work. It's fair. Casey says she FA and FO. No one feels sorry for her. Well, I don't know if I would say no one. I mean, that's a generalization. I'm sure there's somebody out there that can feel some sort of sorriness for Laura in this situation, which would be proof by refutation. So all we can do, I guess, is try not to make generalizations. B. Fuller says, is she, I think they mean if she has so much support in helping her try to eat and be healthy, why didn't any one of those people, including her mother, not help her go to a doctor's appointment to get ultrasounds to check on twin babies? This is very critical. This is a very critical point. If Miss Owens has a great support system, as David claims, why didn't that support system get her a consistent OBGYN? Why didn't that support system get her to a place where she could get ultrasounds on a regular basis for a high-risk twin pregnancy, fetal heartbeat monitoring, regular care, real DNA testing on any miscarriage materials? Where were they to create the clinical proof that would be needed to win their court case. If they want to win their court case, they need to bring clinical proof. Where was the support system trying to help that happen? I haven't seen it. Lydia Small says, LMAO, imposed on her by wicked, evil humans, unquote. I keep having to check whether or not this is a parody account. Yeah, exactly. I mean, what is a wicked, evil thing someone has done? Let's go find that person and ask them why they did it. Maybe somebody did something they regret. Maybe somebody did something wicked and evil, but that does not mean that everybody is out here doing something wicked and evil. That would be a illogical generalization. There is no cult. I agree. We've talked about it time and time again. How can you support a woman who will turn around and accuse you of the R word? Because that's coming. Soon you will want justice. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know why that would happen. That seems like speculation. Lydia says, her little body, as someone who has struggled with eating disorders, reflects her obsession with victimhood. See how frail I am. I'm a victim in appearance. She wants us to worry. She wants us to say she looks sick. Some attention-grabbing BS as per usual. It reflects her obsession. Yeah, that's a theory. That's an idea. Okay, let's see. How do I go back to all these comments? Let's see if we missed any. Okay, we talked about the Bachelor comments. Oh, here we go. Kate says, okay, first off, go learn the definition of a cult. Yeah, I agree. That would be great. Second, all these people exist who support Laura, but none have spoken publicly about it? ? Yeah, that's my question as well. Only behind closed doors to you? ? And you expect me to take your lying word for it? Well, I mean, he might not be lying, but again, trust is hard to earn and easy to lose. What has this lawyer given me that would earn my trust? I don't know. I don't know. The only thing he's shown me so far is that he thinks HCG test indicators and belly photo indicators are concrete proof of pregnancy, which I think is a denial of science and a denial of reason. And it does not embolden me with trust in his position. Okay. Oh, guys, what are we doing? Were there comments on this one? That's the one we just looked at. I think we've seen these. Maybe we've gotten through it, guys. Wow. Yeah. I think so. Oh, man. Whew. This is a lot. This is a lot, guys. Let me finish up this video so we keep it under an hour. And let me just finish by reading what I posted in a comment to Reddit earlier today after watching Dave Neal's video on this these latest tweets. And Dave is catching up on the case. So I made a 5-point post here. Point 1, 6, or whatever the number is. 6 HCG tests are an indicator of pregnancy, not proof of pregnancy. Headaches can indicate a brain tumor, but not everyone with headaches has brain tumors. 2, belly photos are not proof of pregnancy. Photos of moles may indicate malignancy, but not all mole photos prove malignancy. Point 3, in this case, there was no consistent OBGYN, no fetal heartbeat measurements, no provider-supplied ultrasounds to Clayton's lawyer, no DNA paternity testing indicating Clayton was the father to any children or miscarriage material, no medical provider supplied proof of any of either early or late-term miscarriage. 4, you can walk up to me on the street and say you're pregnant, and I'll believe you, because it's a generally mundane claim. However, the minute you drag someone to court and demand the state government force that person to do something, that is when you need to clinically prove that you are pregnant and that you have paternity results proving the father. Point 5, if you go to court with the objective or the outcome of having a feral pregnancy that ends with no clinical proof of pregnancy or paternity, then you should pay the legal bills for both sides of this case. And by feral pregnancy, I just mean, Dr. Medchill in the June 10th hearing had a point. Somebody can become pregnant and go 9 months and never see an OBGYN, never get an ultrasound, never get fetal heartbeat measurements. But at the end of 9 months, they end up with a healthy baby. Maybe they live in the woods. I don't know. That's their business. The problem is, in this case, we don't have that baby. We don't have records of a miscarriage, either early or late term. We just don't have evidence. And if you bring someone to court and demand that the state force them to do things, and you can't prove your pregnancy, and you can't prove paternity, then you should end up paying the bill. So pay the bill. This is Bruce from Oregon. Thank you for your time.